Motherly is such an amazing film. I made a note early on that I wasn't too happy with, but I really had to eat my words. But that is a spoiler, so I will, at the end, with a spoiler warning, discuss what that was, and I'll also discuss the ending of the film. But for now, this will be spoiler-free. This is a horror or thriller film from 2021. It's directed by Craig Wallace and it's written by Ian Malone and Craig Wallace, and it stars Lora Burke as Kate and Tessa Kozma as Beth. And they are a mother and daughter who are living in a farmhouse, and Beth is not very happy. It's her birthday. She seems like a moody child. She's not very likeable. But then quickly my opinion changed and actually she became quite tolerable. Kate, I feel the same. Kate initially wasn't the most interesting. I wouldn't say I didn't like her, but as the film progressed, she became quite a fascinating character. And I don't want to say too much more than that, but their safety is threatened because of something that happened in the past. And right now I'll say no more than that. That's more than I had going into this. And I liked knowing basically nothing about what was going to happen. So that is all I'll say about this for now. But I think it's beautifully done. It is quite gruesome. The sound effects are horrendous. They're amazing, but they're horrible. And I love it. I absolutely love it. There are a couple of scenes where the lighting was not bright enough. They're dimly lit scenes. They're scenes where there's perhaps no natural light, but I was struggling to see things. And I feel like some horror films feel like if you just turn the lights off or turn the lights almost off, then it's atmospheric and dark. And actually in those particular scenes, the one scene in particular, I really wanted to see the detail up close and we didn't get that. So that wasn't great, but that really was just one or two scenes where I thought the lighting could have been a little bit better. But we have some really great camera angles. We make great use of the space. The entire film is basically in this house and the surrounding grounds. And I think they made a fantastic use of the space without it ever getting stale or boring. The pacing is generally very good. It wasn't too slow at any point, in fact. I don't think there was any point where I felt like things were dragging, so I really appreciate that. And we didn't have too many jump scares. I don't mind jump scares. I don't think that jump scares are just a cheap way to get a thrill. I actually think there's a time and place for them. And there were a couple, but actually it's much more twisty than that, and the direction it takes for me is what got my heart racing as we kind of dug deeper and deeper into the narrative. But we do have obviously some jump scares and some quite loud sound effects and some very gruesome sound effects that are very well done. And the performances were absolutely brilliant, and it seems to tick every single box. It may not be completely perfect, but honestly, I was left feeling really satisfied. And as I said, at one point, I did actually have to eat my words, but that is a big spoiler, so I'll discuss that in a second. Do I recommend it? Absolutely. I went into this with pretty high hopes because it sounded, based on the very limited knowledge I had of what this was about, it sounded like my kind of film. And it's not actually the narrative I was expecting. I don't know exactly what I expected, but it wasn't this. But I actually really thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, it may not be perfect, but there's nothing specific I can point to that really needed significant improvement. It worked really well, and I came away from it feeling really satisfied. If you're looking for a good film that's quite thrilling and rather dramatic and very well written, Motherly is definitely one to go with. So now, with a huge, colossal spoiler warning, I will discuss a couple of things. These are huge spoilers. I'm going to give away what happens in the film. So if you do plan on watching it, please do come back and let me know what you think of it. I hope you enjoy it. I will now tell you why I had to eat my words and also explain my thoughts on the ending. So big, big spoilers from now. I think about 20 minutes into the film, we find out something. And we find out that, and as I said, huge spoilers, we find out that Kate admits to killing, well, somebody. We don't initially know who this is, and I didn't expect that it was a child. We actually do get to see the body on the floor very briefly, but it didn't occur to me that it was a child. And it turns out that the home invaders, as we think they are initially, are actually the child's parents. And they believe that Kate killed this child, not Kate's husband, who was in prison. We learn that actually he's taken his own life. And we find out that actually it was Kate. And she confesses this. And I wrote this down about 20 minutes in, maybe a little after that. I wrote the note, "Give away too much too soon," because I feel like they should have held that back and kept it a little bit more suspenseful. And I genuinely thought I would be coming away from this saying it was a good story, but the pacing wasn't great. We found out too much too soon. It didn't give us enough suspense. I was so wrong about that. And in fact, I wrote down, let me grab this. I wrote down 1 hour and 7 minutes. I made a note. Well, actually, I went back and made a note of this once it was confirmed. That's when I worked out the truth. Or at least when I had a very strong feeling that this was the truth. And I'll explain why this came about. 1 minute and 7, we have Beth in the basement with the dead girl's mother. And Kate, having been severely injured, is going down to the basement to protect her daughter. And I realised then the significance of the title Motherly, and the fact that Kate her instinct is to protect her daughter at any cost. And I realised then, or I came to a very strong suspicion that it wasn't Kate who killed the little girl. And that's why we were told that so early on in the film, so we didn't have time to even think that it wasn't the truth or to come up with an alternative reality. And a couple of minutes after this, that was confirmed when Beth rammed the pitchfork into the Mary's stomach. It was the sound effects were brutal, very, very brutal, but very, very well done. And I didn't see it coming. As I said, it's the moment, an hour and 7 minutes in, when Kate is at the top of the stairs that lead down to the basement. And it was also the fact that Mary was protecting Beth, and then Kate was going to protect Beth. And that's when I realised it's not Beth that needs protecting. Beth is the one who has caused this. So I didn't see that coming. And I'm really pleased about that, because it made it all the more dramatic and very, very suspenseful. And I thought it was very, very well done. So as I said, I eat my words. I did make the note saying we found out too much too soon. But actually, once the narrative played out, I can completely see why that was the case. And it actually made sense to tell us really as early as possible that the mystery was not that the person in prison had done it, but actually it was Kate. That's the deceit. That's the lie. And then we realise, okay, we're being told another lie. And it took me a long time to get there, and I liked that. So I thought it was brilliant, very well written, really great characters. And, well, I won't say exactly how it ends in the last couple of seconds. I won't give away completely everything, but Beth was brilliant. And Tessa Kozma gave an amazing performance. Chilling, but very effectively done. And as I said, I'm very happy with it. Motherly is a very well-written film, very well executed. All of the technical aspects are great, apart from, as I said, some lighting that I didn't completely love, but those scenes were few and far between. And obviously I've spoiled it now, but even so, if it sounds like your kind of film, it's worth watching, because honestly, I feel like the narrative structure is quite fabulous and definitely something that's worth checking out.